Hey everybody, happy Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. No worries, Homeman's Homestead. Take your time. It's been a good week. Let's see who I got coming in here. I was running a bit behind. I apologize. Hey Rebecca, Touched by Yarn. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good week. Wait for a few people to get in here. But it's been a good week, a busy week, getting things done, which is a good thing because things need to get done, especially since we've gotten to the point where it's too hot sometimes in summer for us. So we prefer to do things in the fall. So we've been quite busy. But the good news is we're just getting it all done. Rebecca said, I'm having a great week because my car is now fixed. I had to replace a power steering pump. Well, that is a relief. It always feels good to have things fixed and back and running and not have to worry about anything. So good for you, Rebecca. I'm glad. I'm really glad. That's awesome. So yeah, we've been just doing all the fall to-do lists and all that stuff and trying to get caught up on things and get things ready for when it gets cold. We've been having an actual nice fall, I would say. Pretty long fall, meaning we haven't got dipped right down into cold and snow. So that's actually a nice thing, especially since we tend to have a lot of months of that. So it's pretty cool. And we are got some things done today, and looks like Sunday will be the pheasants will be butchered. Only 4 of them, which is kind of a bummer. And part of the reason why we've put it off so long, because it's a lot of setup, a lot of cleanup, and a lot of knockdown and put away for 4 birds. So we've come up with an easier way to do it. So that way we are not taking out the whole kit and caboodle for 4 birds. We usually don't put them in the plucker because they get pretty beat up because they're small. So we will be hand plucking like we did, and we'll just butcher. Excuse me. We'll be butchering 2 at a time. And obviously we'll only have 2 rounds of that, so that won't be too bad. And we'll just do it outside the house and bring them in and get them all washed up in the house versus hoses and all that stuff. So we will stick with that. Lisa Clovey is off tonight, my moderator, because she is out having a good time, which is what we want her to do. So that's good. But tonight I figured let's talk about preparing for winter. I know for some of you it's not as extensive as what, say, we might do. But I know even if you don't deal with extended periods of freezing weather, you still have to be ready. So, I know a lot of folks are they put up hay earlier. We were very late this year, but we got our hay. And we got some bedding for the pigs, which are put up. We're trying out round bales this year to see how that works for us. So we've got 2 round bales, 1 alfalfa, 1 bedding on pallets, and we've got them tarped, and we'll be pulling off of that. And it's nice because it's right down by the pigs now versus having it on trailers elsewhere, because we could actually get it down right there. So that's going to be very convenient. So we've been doing that. Lots of things on the fall list, not necessarily winter prep. But some of the things that we do for winter prep are, obviously heated waters. Right now, I don't have them plugged in because I'll be breaking ice since I'm home to do that. Because usually it's just overnight and it's not too bad. I'll wait till it gets a little colder because those tank heaters tend to take a little bit more energy, whereas the heated bowls for the chickens really are not that bad. Oh, excuse me. Let me see here. Um, Silly things like the little piglets are right now eating out of little metal pans, which work well for piglets, but we're going to switch them to rubber bowls because we don't want them um, eating out of little metal pans in the wintertime. So we'll be switching over to them. Hey, Woman's Homestead, good to see you guys. So we've started that, and so it'll be interesting to see how the round bale use goes for us. Luckily, we were able to get it on a trailer loaded, and then we were able to, um, what do you call it? We have the winch, and we have a track on the side by side, and we have a tractor. So we were able to, winch it and then get it moved with the tractor. So that'll be good. And we got it all tarped. I need to get ice melt for our deck that is composite so that we can be able to get in and out of our home to get ready for winter. Very smart, Rebecca. Absolutely. Hey, Gwen, Broke Cowgirl Homestead. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Oh, she said, be home in a bit. Went out to eat. Good for you. Have fun. So yeah, so we're getting that stuff done. We got to get, so the chicken waters are in the heated bowls, but they're not plugged in yet. We haven't needed them. However, we switched over to the black rubber bowls for the pigs instead of the tire plastic waters. That way, if I hit it with a shovel, I don't want to put a crack in a plastic tire water because they're expensive and they work really well in the summer. So we've got that. We've got a nice area for the piglets to eat. We took a gate, and I'm going to do an upcoming video on that. Not installing it. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. This is what happens when I sit down. We put a gate that we got from an auction coming out from the fence with the metal post and chained on, and then we have another metal gate. So it's like a little vestibule, if you will, where we can enter the gate and then enter the gate into the sow pen, which helps. So right now the little buggers are still getting under the gate, and so that works out perfect. But when they can't, I'll just feed the sows first and the littles will follow me back through. That way we only have two of the little guys eating in that area. So far it's been working really great. So I hope it continues to work. Oh, I know it. It's crazy, Holman's Homestead. The minute I sit down, like, because we were going all day, we were outside, it was a beautiful day. And then the minute I sit down, it's like, geez. So forgive me. And probably because my mouth is yapping and I'm not getting enough oxygen. But yeah, I mean, it's great to have that done. The greenhouse is still doing great. I'm just shocked. I mean, I know greenhouses help, but like we've been in the 20s and I thought for sure it's like stuff would be not doing great, and it's doing great. So now the issue becomes how to get water down there because we got to drain our water tanks because it's cold at night and they freeze and the valves break. So I really don't want to use house water for that. So we'll see how that goes. I may have to take a 5-gallon bucket down there and go water it minimally and see if it survives. But we're going to be harvesting spinach. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Now, when I sit down by the wood stove. No kidding. Oh, that is enough to make you cozy and make you pass right out. But yeah, it was a beautiful day today. Beautiful. So we were out and just sitting on the porch and enjoying it, taking care of the hay. I was teaching my friend how to make pasta this week. So she had some freshly milled flour. She got some wheat flour and we made pasta. And we also, I was teaching her how to make sourdough. Hey, Qualkey. Hey, Joe Serrano. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. So it's been good though, just getting stuff done. I think we're down to, aside from butchering the 4 pheasants and um butchering the 4 pheasants and trimming the pig hooves in the crate that Ryan made. Um, we are that's really the hardest stuff on the list now. We've got to get some heating pellets. Excuse me, we had some left over from last year. So that worked well. But just feels good to be getting ready for stuff. So yeah, for getting ready for winter. So, if you've got heating, right? No doubt you've been cutting wood. If you burn wood, you've been cutting it all summer or at least in the fall getting ready. Which is I know what we used to do. And then for us, we've got to get heating pellets. We usually have them by now. Excuse me. We usually have all our pallets here by now. But we're kind of just since we have the forklift tractor, what we're doing is just we're going to buy a couple pallets at a time and just put them right in the driveway. So we'll have that done. Let's see. Plus, again, it's been a nice fall so far, I have to say. We've had snow flurries, but nothing accumulating yet, which is really nice. We got our hay. Folks put up hay like I talked about. Also, getting water heaters in and all that kind of thing. Securing up, rabbits. Like I don't have rabbits, but I saw on Instagram some folks were covering up some of the hutches, like the wired areas where there was ventilation, but also covering it so that way they're quote unquote winterized. I guess that'll be something we'll be learning about as we go along because I think we're considering rabbits. Um, what else? I mean, there's always something to do, right? Always something. But it's just nice when you get everything prepared. And I know for us, we also move a lot of stuff out of the way. Like we unloaded our trailer, the rest of the hay, and we fed that out. And we used our trailer to get the hay today. And once that's in place, we just moved the trailer down back. And the reason why we do that is because we just want room in case you have a winter where there's nowhere to put snow after you've been plowing it and plowing it, because you never know. We just we move as much as we can out of the way so that way if we have to plow a path, it makes it easier. It is hard. It is hard, especially for you guys. I mean, you go from so hot in the summer to so cold, Holman's homestead, so that gets hard. Making sure animal barns are all set. I mean, we haven't put the carpet up on the pig barns because they don't need it. And the screws are already in the wood. So it's really just a matter of pulling out the carpets and screwing it on. And usually we'll do that if we see it starts to either trend really cold for a long period or we see some really crazy temperatures come in. Um, so that's pretty cool. So we'll definitely be doing that. But I think when you get it down to a system, you do what works for you and you end up, you know, doing all you can and to prepare and you get everything ready. And then of course sometimes winter will throw a loop at you where we have these frigid cold temperatures and you just step up and do what you got to do because you got to take care of your animals, right? I know that some of the forecasts for the winter with the almanac are looking pretty rough. I know for us, they're saying it's going to be mild and I think they said mild and wet. I don't know. I'm going to look at the picture that I took because I don't know. I was getting mixed information. Mild and dry for us. Um, yeah, mild and dry, they're saying. Now I'm looking at, I think that's Tennessee. And then some parts of the East Coast are going to be cold and dry or cold and snowy, and that's hard too. I think sometimes what's really hard is when you have areas, and I think of Texas because I remember this happened 2 years in a row since we've been homesteading. So within the past 5 years, but you know, Texas had some really brutally cold weather, and to have that brutal cold weather in a climate that is not used to it is really hard because, it's not like you can run out and get a water heater for your animals because they usually don't have them in the store because that's not something they deal with all the time. So that's kind of challenging. And then, the construction is different down there. You may have barns that are open because it's a warmer climate. And then all of a sudden you get this cold weather coming in and you got to figure out plan B. So sometimes I think it's a lot easier when, excuse me, a lot easier when we're dealing with the cold all the time because we're used to what's coming our way. So I don't know, it's crazy. What are some of the things that you guys do to prepare for winter? I'd be curious to hear. I'm sure a lot of it's similar, but if you have anything that's maybe different, that would be cool. And if Spartman comes in, you guys, I finally got seeds for him. So Spartman, if you are listening, email me at yogihollowfarm20@gmail.com because I have seeds for you that I promised you from 3 weeks ago that I was finally looking at because I remembered. So just want to see if you're interested in those. I'm trying to think what else. Like bedding is a lot of, you have to have bedding for animals. Holman said just fixing up the hay feeders and fixing the openings to close them up. Yep, absolutely. I assume you put your hay, do you hang your hay feeders? Because I know you have goats, so I'm assuming you, instead of obviously having like a round bale feeder, you might be hanging them in the barn or something, or fixing them up so that way they keep the hay dry, I'm assuming, in case it snows. Because I know you guys got a bunch of goats and now you got all those little babies running around. That's cool. They're so cute. So cute. And then before you know it, right, we'll be into winter and we'll be doing indoor projects, right? We've got a few ideas for indoor projects because we're hoping to be done with them this year. Although I don't think you'll ever be done, but things around the house that we need to get done so that way we don't have to worry about doing it anymore as we get older. So we'll see how that goes because kitchens are mighty pricey. But we're thinking we will start ordering what we need for the kitchen because it needs to get done. It's a hot mess. No, we fixed the hay feeder where we can sit a roll of hay in it. It keeps the hay about 2 feet off the ground. That's awesome. Oh, that's brilliant. Keeps it 2 feet off the ground. That's great. Good job. What a smart idea. We ended up putting, we had picked up, I don't know if you were here when I was talking about the hay bales, but we picked up 2 round bales today, and that's the first time we're using round bales. And we've got them tarped, but we have them on really large pallets. We had several pallets that were from like equipment or machinery was on it that we ended up getting a hold of, and we've had them by the garage. So we laid them out, and then I think we have 4 of them. So we have 2 pallets under each round bale to keep it off the ground. So that'll be good. That's a really good idea. Really good idea. It's always something you got to figure out, like how to keep the hay dry, how to keep the hay dry, how to keep it from molding, how to keep it from being wasted, right? It's just never ending because hay's pretty pricey. Like we're never going to be able to grow enough hay on our little land for our pigs, so we're always going to have to buy it. Whereas I know like Holman's Homestead, they can cut hay, which is really cool, and they have the equipment to do that. Trying to get the high tunnel done before winter. Should have ordered it 2 weeks earlier. Yeah, I know. I know. I think you have time. It'll just be cool, but sometimes it's easier to work in the cooler weather than it is in the hotter weather. You just don't want snow or anything. That'll be really cool. I can't wait to see the high tunnel. That's very exciting for you guys. If it was up to me, I'd have a high tunnel that went over most of the property because that would make my day. But yeah, I'm planning on doing a video just of some updates of silly projects we've done. I wasn't going to video them because they're just little things, you know what I mean, to get us through. The wind has been terrible past 4 days. It sounds like you had the wind we had a few days ago. Yeah, the wind is hard. Wind is hard when you're trying to do that stuff. A friend of ours was trying to drop a dead tree and he kept taking off and from work to cut the tree down, and it just was so hard for him because the wind kept picking up. So it was crazy. Hey, about 6 acres, good to see you guys. Exciting stuff going on over there building. I was seeing on Instagram you guys building your new goat shelter, which is really exciting. So congrats. Once the framing's up, it's so much easier to get a move on. So that's really cool. So yeah, just, I think that everybody does, different things to prep for winter. And, I think the hardest thing to prep for is when you're in an area that doesn't get all that cold and all of a sudden you get all that cold. That's the challenge, I think, because you have livestock who are not acclimated to it, and they're prone to pneumonia and stuff like that when you have those temp swings or those prolonged cold periods. Don't get me wrong, we have it here also, but I just find that's really hard on animals that are not used to cold weather, whereas our animals get kind of used to it. So exciting. I was thrilled Nick has come around. That's really cool. I'm glad. Sometimes that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do is you just got to go for it. I know we need to build another barn for the boys because I cannot stand not being able to stand up in their building when I have to clean it. But you know what? It was here. We moved it and it's functional. But holy cow, would it be nice to have a new one? Yeah, the swings are brutal. I mean, I remember I don't want to give numbers because I don't remember, but just, you're up in the 70s one day and then all of a sudden you're down in the 20s and it's like, come on. One thing we hate when it gets down, Holman's Homestead says, really cold when you go to start. Oh, one thing we hate when it gets down really cold when you go to start the tractors. Yes, that's a huge pain. Our tractors are really good about running, but the hard part is sometimes we don't run them often. So, because we don't need to. But today we needed to move the round bales, and I know Ryan went to start one of them and he couldn't get it going, and he said, "All right, well, I'm going to leave it because maybe it's flooded. We're going to leave it alone for a little bit." And then he was able to get it done for the second one. So it was a smart call. Hey, Gwen, good to see you. Good to see you. But yeah, starting equipment in the cold weather, oof, that is hard, especially when it's been sitting for a while, you know? The really cool thing is one of the things that we've done to prepare for winter, and you may not think it's not conventional prepare, all the auctions that Ryan goes to, he comes home with hardware. He comes home with all this stuff and it gets dumped, right? Because we're in the middle of busy season in the summer. We don't have time to put all that stuff away, or we get lazy or whatever, right? He's been busting it for the past few weeks. He busted it out and got all the stuff sorted, all the stuff on shelves. And we've gotten the garage cleaned out. And he continues to do that. And the good part is he's been using the scrap wood and he starts a fire in there and he's got it nice and cozy in there, you know. But he's also been able to burn some stuff we needed to get rid of, you know, like some cardboard and things like that. So it's awesome. It's awesome because now we'll have a place to work like we used to in 2020 when we moved versus what it had become. So that'll be really cool. So I'm hoping he'll be able to have it nice and warm in there and be able to do stuff in the winter in there and work on things. Um, so that'll be good. Gwen says, thankfully, our tractor that we use the most starts great, but we aren't normally super cold. Yeah. Yeah. Cold and sitting it makes things act up. It's crazy. Love how much you've gotten done. Thank you. To prepare, we ordered heated waters, which will make things easier. Cleaning out stuff before winter means spring you will love you. And you know, before you guys got in tonight, excuse me, before you guys came in tonight about 6 acres, I was talking about how, you know, I think it's really hard on, you know, Texas in particular is not used to cold weather. And then I know there were 2 years that in the winter, they had periods of really cold, frozen stuff. And that makes it really hard. So you're really smart to buy the heated waters and have them on hand because if you get that awful weather, which you're not acclimated to or used to down there, it's nice that you don't have to worry about it because I know people then try to go out and find it and you can't because it's not something you usually use. So we usually keep extra heated dog bowls and stuff here or an extra stock tank heater because the stores will put them away. You know, they've got them all out now since August, September. And then they'll put them away. And you know, that's when they're going to break when it's like January, February, and they're already putting out spring stuff. So it's just, you know, that's what's really great about having that stuff on hand so you can be prepared. And I think that's really important. Exactly, Gwen. Exactly. And that's the thing, because you know, then you have those times and you have to be able to break the ice and stuff. My biggest concern is not necessarily breaking the ice, it's when you have a plastic, not a rubber, a plastic dish, and you're trying to hit it with a shovel. And if you hit the plastic, you're going to ruin the dish too. So that's why I always switch out to the rubber ones for winter. So right now, before my water heaters go in, I am out there with a shovel breaking the ice. It breaks easy, and then I'll turn the heaters on once it gets to a point where it's hard to break ice. You know. Hey, Heather Milk and Honey Heritage Farm, never late, never late. Excuse me. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'd rather break ice than cold and rain. Careful what you wish for. You're getting a lot of rain out there, huh, Heather? I think you guys are getting a lot of rain because I heard somebody in Washington was telling me they were getting a lot of rain. So I'm assuming Oregon is getting the same, and it's your rainy season, if I'm correct. But yeah, we are. I'd rather snow than rain. Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, I'd rather snow than rain. But I hope we get a lot of snow this winter. I mean, we need it. We sure do need it. Um, but the nice part is now we're prepared if it does happen. Everything's out of the way. Everything's all set. I hope you all have a good night and a blessed weekend, Holman's Homestead. Hugs to you and your family. Hope you guys are doing well. Take care. Thanks for being here. Heather said, usually end of October, beginning of November. Gotcha. There you go. Well, I'm glad you're getting the rain because hopefully that puts out any fires that may be out that way too. Gwen says we are supposed to get a lot of rain tonight and into tomorrow. Thank God it's so dry right now. Yeah, you guys need some rain. I hope you get it. I hope you get it. We could use some. I was on dirt roads today, and the ones that aren't sprayed, boy, they are dusty, especially when you're riding with a trailer. And we had an empty trailer going down. Oof. Heather said painted rocks at the garden club this week and passed them out around the country. That is so cool. What a great idea. I love it. How fun. Heather said it's been very dry too. Yeah. The weather is feast or famine, right? Feast or famine. Pretty soon I'll be talking to you with a hat on like this because I'll be cold. But yeah, I think we're going to take tomorrow off. And well, Ryan is going to finish servicing the side by side, which will be another thing off our list. And then I think we're going to go play because the weather's going to be 68 tomorrow, which is going to be delightful. Cannot wait. So I think we're going to take a ride in the side by side because we've been putting that off because we wanted to service it before we take a ride out in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? And he just replaced the belt and he's going to change the oil and do all that stuff. So once that's all done, we'll be good to go. Did I finish my socks? Not yet. I am in the home stretch of the leg, which is a 2x2 rib. So it'll be I don't have an example here. Basically, it's a rib knit like the ankle, I'm sorry, like the leg was on my other sock. So I'm past the heel and I've started that and I got to go up. So, but yeah, we're going to play tomorrow, do some knitting, I'm sure. And then Sunday we're going to do the pheasants, mainly because the pheasants are long overdue, but the water keeps freezing. And so it's plastic. I don't need it breaking. So it's a little warm tomorrow to do that. So we're going to wait until Sunday when it's going to be like 63 for the high, which means we'll be done before it gets that warm. So that'll be good. We've just kind of been putting it off because there's only 4. It's so dumb. Burn bans everywhere. Idiots still want to burn something and it gets away from them. Yeah, that is. Don't even get me started on that, Gwen. Don't get me started on that. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah. I just remember the time somebody posted a video and thought they were posting how they burned and it got out of hand and they were laughing, thinking it was funny. And that's not funny. Not funny at all. That is dangerous, irresponsible, and I don't want any part of it. And that was even before we lived here, where there's a wildfire risk. I never would do that stuff. We always were responsible, but I got to tell you, even more so now, makes me angry. Idiots. We do have our burn pile ready, though, I will say that. The minute we get some pretty deep snow, the burn pile is ready and we're going to be burning. because we haven't burned in 2 years and we need to get some stuff burned, but you can unless it's safe to do so. I helped put a fire out last month across the road. Oh my gosh, Heather. I'm glad you got it out and I'm glad everybody's safe. Jeez. Yeah, you got to be responsible with fire. You can't be doing things that you don't know what you're doing. I can't tell you how many times I see people not standing there like they're supposed to. You're supposed to be there to man it with a hose, or and just makes me angry. That's people's lives on the line, and their houses and their livestock. Yeah. Anywho, so it'll be nice if this winter we could burn 2 in our back. So I hope you guys do get rain down there, Gwen, because it's crazy. So what are some other things you guys might do if you're in a warm climate and you hear that cold weather is coming? How do you prepare? Are there things that you do normally to prepare for winter? I know that it's different here than it is elsewhere, so I'm just throwing that out there because I'd love to hear, because you never know what tips and tricks you might pass on to somebody else, which is super helpful. One thing I do love about our chicken waters being in the indoor run, not the outdoor run, because that's where I have electric to plug them in. So I just keep it in the indoor run. The great part about it is they don't ice over as much inside until it gets really cold. Heather said putting clear plastic around the chicken run. Nice. I bet your chickens appreciate that. I don't usually put clear plastic on mine, but I have the ability to close the outdoor run to the indoor run when it's really windy and really cold and snowing. So, but again, mine are totally acclimated to cold weather. They sleep out in the run and the coop and the outdoor run all year round. Using scrap wood to screw on the plastic, that's a good idea. Heather said putting pots away that are unused. Yep, I do that too. About 6 acres said we pull out our frost cloth, etc., to have handy, mulch, compost, put away summer things like the shade cloth. Those are all good ideas. I am going to be pulling my shade cloth off of my Brussels sprouts and broccoli soon. I was hoping they would make it a little longer, but I see they're starting to tear, which means they'll be a little shorter next year. But I want to be able to do that because we've had some warm days and I think it was good for it to be there. But that's really good ideas. Gwen said extra bedding for the goats, lots of jugs of water just in case the water freezes. I cover my screen window with a feed sack. Yep. Great ideas. Lots of bedding, lots of water. I'm glad you actually mentioned covering your screen window with a feed sack. I covered our storage / intermediate grow out coop, which was temporary when we needed it. I have to recover the door that has chicken wire on it with feed bags, and I completely forgot because they've been on there so long they rotted off. So great reminder. So I can keep squirrels out of there. Heather says I do too. I just want them to be able to go out and it not be a muddy, poopy mess. Makes perfect sense. Roll hoses up. Make sure other hoses are drained. Yes, we roll up our hoses, our gravity-fed hoses, and we also flush them. We pour vinegar down them and flush them because the gravity-fed hose that goes to the pigs is not a great flow because it's not a big drop. The one in the back is fine. And we ended up flushing the hose with vinegar because we were getting what I call amoebas in there, like these little white things where the water lays in the hose, and I didn't like that. So we washed it. So we poured about a half a gallon of vinegar in there and then ran the hose attached to the house to get the water running through. And it was a lot better. And then we put those hoses away. We disconnected our tanks, disconnected the valves on our tanks because the valves will freeze on the IBC totes. And when that happens, it's very expensive to replace. I'm sorry, I meant Gwen said my coop has a screen window. I was unclear on that. Oh, yeah, no worries. I totally get that. It's sort of like what I do for when I used to cover the turkey one in the back. We don't roll up our hoses, Gwen said. We do disconnect them and wrap and cover the faucets. Gotcha. What we do is whether we're using the house water, which we'll use for a little interim now until we get to a point where we can't. And then what we try to do is haul water every other day in the truck. And the reason why we'll do that is because then we don't have to worry if the house one is frozen. So, provided it's not real cold where on the ride home I'm going to have ice in there, we'll go out during the warmest part of the day, haul enough water just for everybody, give everybody all brand new water, and they'll be good. The chickens are not like a big issue. It's more the pigs because we've got 4 pigs in one area, 2 in another. So they both have 2 waters. 2, I think they're like 10-gallon bowls each, so 20 gallons a piece for them. I think that's a little more than what it is, but you get the gist. Hey, Nancy, our treasured home. Good to see you. But we'll drain hoses every night. Right now, we disconnect it. I'll open up the end that's on the bottom and down the hill, and then Ryan will disconnect it from the house, and he picks his end up, and it all runs out, and the hose is drained. But right now, we're at a point where it'll defrost during the day. In the middle of winter, we have to pick it up every day and drain it. So Heather at Milk and Honey said, good news, the grass is nice and green now. That's awesome. That's awesome. We've got some regrowth down in the back where the boys were grazing because we raked that all out. And we've been talking about the possibility of dragging versus raking. Because the grass is actually coming back pretty well because we had a pretty good year for rain overall. But other than the inch of rain we had the other day, it's been pretty dry again. We need some rain. It's crazy. What are some other ideas? You guys have anything good? I'm curious. So just a couple other things. I know some of you have come in the chat late. I just wanted to mention some of the things I was talking about earlier before you guys were here. And we also, I was teaching a friend of mine how to make pasta, and she had fresh milled flour, which was pretty cool. I did fresh milled durum wheat. My pasta dough did not turn out so good, so I'm going to try it differently again. I couldn't get mine to go through the pasta machine. It fell apart, so I was kind of bummed, but not a big deal because it's a learning experience. I'm really glad that hers worked. So that's pretty cool. And so yeah, so it worked out really good. And then my friend's making bread, so taught her how to make sourdough starter and bread, so that'll be pretty cool. Heather said fill potholes. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a never-ending battle, especially after the rain, right? You'll be doing that. All right, guys. Well, I am going to get going. I just wanted to jump on and chat. And again, Spartman, if you watch this, contact me at yogihollowfarm20@gmail.com because I've got some seeds for you. Haha, we were just talking about filling the potholes in our driveway road when we pulled in tonight after this rain. Yeah, I bet. I bet. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate y'all being here, and we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye, everybody.